Okay, hello together. My name is Alexandra, and today I'm together with, I see 4 my colleagues, so it's Jan and Wiebke and Jens Peter. We are from Heidelberg and from University of Education Heidelberg. Our research group calls Didaktik Aktuell. And yes, we 3, Jan, Wiebke, and we are 3 on our promotion at the moment. And Jens Peter and Nicole Marmé are both our chiefs. And today we're going to present you one kind of a course from informatics. I just show you some PowerPoint at first, but I don't want to talk a lot because I think the better way to present is to show the real course. So I just go through my presentation really fast, and then you can try our course. And at the end, you can also ask some questions. Yes. So you can see the presentation. Is that okay? Yep. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we would like to tell a little bit about the project GDC. And then I'm going to tell a little bit about our course and what's coding and art and what are the parts of our course. So kind of videos and exercises and what can be a final project of that course. And at the end, a little bit of our experience with this course. And we did this course for the project Girls Digital Camps. Our idea was that we actually want to inspire more girls for IT, digital applications, and general for STEM. In fact, our target group, female students from middle school, at the moment we are working with grade 6 to 8. Especially female are still in Germany. We have this problem that female students are not that good represented in MINT STEM sector. So the latest information was about 20 to 25%, depends on the subject. It's different, it's a little bit different in information technology or electrotechnical sciences or biology, for example. On this project, Girls Digital Camps, we make a lot of courses with different topics, kind of digital communication, social media, programming in Snap, App Inventor, Python, robotics also, very, very different topics, everything, I hope, interesting for young ladies. Yes. Here you see 2 examples of our course, Coding and Art. The idea of the course that young women program something creative, make their own art objects they design on themselves using their programming skills. So they design with Snap. And these are 2 results of the course. So they took some pictures and they designed them on themselves using some loops, some if clauses, some different graphic effects of Snap. The concept of our course, it is probably for teachers here or someone who is interested about how to make this course in a school or also in a kind of academy. We get 5 sessions. The duration of the session is about 90 minutes. And actually it can also be expanded to 6 sessions because we get a lot of material and sometimes we are not that good in time. So we can also do 6 sessions. And we do it usually 3 sessions in a row. So for example, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then we make a break for a week. And in this break, our students have to make a project on themselves. And then we make 2 sessions again in a row. So for example, we make a pause and then we make Friday, Saturday together. This is kind of a plan of our course. So we get the session 1 to 3 And this is a very intense session because we have a Moodle course, and then the students have to get in touch with Snap. Usually they didn't program before. They learn the environment, they make their first exercises. There are some videos and exercises in H5P, or they use Snap environment to make some exercises. At the end of each day, there is a small test to control, but it's not with a grade, so it's just a test. At the second day, we do both loops and if-else conditions, and this is the day where you can probably also split the session and you can expand it to 2 sessions, because both loops and if-else conditions is quite a lot of information at one day. So at this day you can split it, and at the end is also a test. Or usually you can, we usually do this as homework. We begin with loops and do sometimes if conditions, the first part, and then the rest is the homework. And the day 3 is very creative, very, very interesting. We make image editing, stamps, filters, everything with creative design. And we gave them this exercise, creative project. And on day 3, students usually have a lot of fun. And then comes this break for a week for this project. And day 4, a week later, is usually answering questions, helping with program design. They usually have a lot of questions to loops and if conditions, so we can help them a little bit and we can prepare them for the end presentation. At day 5, there is a final touch and then the presentation of the results. That's the basic structure of our course. And in fact, we combine different concepts in one, so they can use loops and if conditions and everything to edit a picture, for example. So it can be very complicated structures, or it can be also very easy structures. But the result is very, very different and very interesting. We have also kind of a gallery for these results where they post it. You can see here some examples of loops from the exercises where we explain it, but I don't want to talk here a lot about it because we are going to show this course to you, so you can just do these exercises and try this out. So you can see on the day 3, there is picture editing. On the one hand, we can edit a stage, on the other hand, the sprite with different possibilities of Snap. And we also have a lot of videos and exercises on the side. And we also have this H5P content on our Moodle course. So you can also do all these exercises. There are very different and very interesting tasks, also to program or just to answer some questions or puzzle, for example. Yes, and this is also at the end, for example, 1 example or 2 examples of projects and our gallery where you can find different art design projects. So I try to end my presentation here. Oops. Yes, I see this. I don't have this.
Yeah, so you can try to end it.
Yes.
So a little bit of the course is still in German, so don't be confused. Some parts of the course is still in German because we are doing this only with German kids. But for you, we translated many of these exercises into English so that we have half an English course.
Only the videos are in German. Yeah. The rest of the lesson is translated with all exercises.
I think if you get a little bit basic knowledge of Snap and a little bit basic knowledge of programming concepts, it's not a very big problem to understand what is going on in the video, because we are showing usually an example of a loop or an if condition. So usually it can be a problem. do you have any questions at the moment, or would you like just to start?
So I think
yes, we start. This is the link to the course, which we translated to English for you. And all of you get the same login registration, the same username and the same password. It is possible in Moodle, so it isn't a problem if you do exercises and watch videos. I think the one thing that probably doesn't work, we have some Jitsi rooms for our students to chat and to conference together, and I'm not sure that they work when we go inside from the same account. But at the moment, we don't need this, and if we need some group work, we can also do this here in Zoom with breakout sessions, I think. Yeah,
I do have a short question. May I?
Oh, yes, yes.
Was it intentional to admit only girls?
Yes.
Or what was the intention to only admit girls?
Yeah, that's because of the program. So the economics ministerium of the government of Baden-Württemberg, of our country, made a program just for girls, because girls are so less represented in informatics and all this stuff. So they really taught us, okay, just do something for girls. And the idea was to combine informatic topics with some other topics that are more girlish, like art, plants, animals, and all this kind of stuff. So that was the idea behind that, to combine art and informatic. So yes, we developed that for girls. But of course, boys can do that as well, and they have fun as well. So,
though we get a very positive feedback from girls for these courses, especially. So if we do just kind of programming course, the feedback usually is not that good. When we do this creative workshop, usually girls find these workshops very interesting because of this creative part of programming.
And also they loved the group and to work with only girls. It's an interesting feeling, I think so.
Was also a study years ago in my school where we got split up in 2 teams. One we boys and one of the girls for about a month to take part in one lesson of a new subject in mathematics. And the girls were so good on their own that they overcome us boys, even though in the last test, we boys were better than them statistically. So this is one of the reasons why we choose to talk to girls individually in these lessons.
So has everybody tried to go into the course? Has anybody managed it to
or I can show it for everyone if you need.
It works nicely.
Okay, thank you.
So maybe you can share it so that you can show all the different stuff there.
Yes, I'm on the way. Yes. I hope every one of you are in now, and I just say a paar words to the structure of the course, and then I let you do, and and I would ask every 10 minutes probably if you have some questions. So we have a short introduction video, and then you switch to the day first, development environment. And these videos, all of these videos are in German. But actually, this is just the description of the programming environment. So I think most of you can handle with this. And you can look at these videos, and then here, for example, there is a first exercise. I just go in this H5P content, and you can see here the small Alonso, for example. You can click on it, and this is the exercise. So you can just, if you can in German read what is it, and get more fit with the environment of SNAP. And the first day is a lot of introduction. The first program is very interesting. I think it's a small house. And then there are some more exercises. So we've got a lot of exercises in this course, and usually children need about 90 to 100 minutes to fulfill one day. So sometimes, for example, exercise 3 is usually kind of homework. There are less of students that can complete all exercises in one day. And then you can scroll down, you come to loops and if statements, and here you have really a lot of exercises and a lot of videos, so you can try them out. Different. And then day 3 is picture editing. So it's quite interesting how you can make different art designs with Snap with some examples. And then at the end, this is after day 3, our exercise. At the moment, we are designing digital storytelling with children. So we change it sometimes. Sometimes we make kind of an art gallery. At the moment, it is digital storytelling. But when we are bored, we can change the project again. So it is usually kind of a creative project for children. And this digital storytelling, they have to work, then they have to fulfill exercises here, and then they present it.
So now you're all in the same Moodle account, so we cannot check who is doing what. But if the girls are working with this course, you can immediately see who is working on which topic and who have problems. So generally, it's quite challenging to do this stuff just online. But we had to do that because of the Corona pandemic. And we struggled first with that because it's very hard to do that just online, to do not see directly what the girls are doing. And you have to take into account that the girls are just 6th or 7th grade, so very young. And it's their first experience with programming and also with digital video communication. So there were a lot of problems that come together. But with this course, it worked out pretty well. So if anybody has done some nice artwork, feel free to share it. Nobody wants to share?
I think they are working now. And
okay. Okay, so then I would say we will let them work 10 minutes and maybe we can share then 1 or 2 examples.
And at the end, you've got the link to a Padlet. Is there any reason why you connect this in a Padlet or external tool and not Moodle itself?
Okay,
I mean, the answer of the
The internet connection is not that good. Could you please write your question in the chat so we can read it, because I couldn't understand the sentence, unfortunately. Oh, Jens Peter, are you here?
Yeah,
There's a question in the chat about the username and password.
Yeah, so at least it will be available during the SnapCon, I would say, but we can, yeah, maybe a little bit longer. But if you're interested in the course, you can get your own username and password if you like. But the general SnapCon account will be there during the SnapCon, maybe a couple of more days. So I also have found some mistakes in the course. So it's still pretty new. So are there any comments on the exercises? Do you think they are too easy or too heavy for girls in this age?
We've got also some links in the chat. I think one, I just checked them also. One was also a German link, gigars.com, and there is also art course, very different from us, and that's another level. So that was my question also to the level. Is our course too easy? Because that another course is, I found it quite difficult for me at first. So that's also my question. Is our course for you too easy, you think, or it's just fine?
Hi, we have been working with different grade levels with girls as well. And, you know, I think the level of difficulty can depend on several factors. I'd like to introduce my colleague, Rachel Gibson, who is also at the University of Virginia, has been working with us with some middle school girls this summer. And with both art and music. Rachel, what's your sense of the activities? Do you think they're suitable?
Yeah, I think so. I think some of the things that we ended up trying with them with like some of the music stuff was like maybe like for a couple grade levels higher. So yeah, I think looking at some of this stuff, it looked pretty doable. For at least for the, I'm just thinking back to the girls that we worked with. I think they would have liked this a lot too.
Yeah, one of the really big challenges is that the girls are so different. So we have some girls, for them that's pretty easy. They can do that pretty quick, and other girls they have never seen anything like this, and it's still very hard, and that's really the challenging part, so that we have exercises for all of these girls at the same time. And as I mentioned, it's again another thing to do that just online and not sitting beside the girl and really show, oh, look at this, here you can move this block, and explaining everything online. It's hard as well. So so we think, and that's our what we have seen, that you have to do very simple exercises at first, very, very simple. They can't be easy enough, and there are still many problems. So we learned that we have to start very, very easy, and then go on if it's possible.
Now, is this totally asynchronous, or do you work with them sometimes over Zoom?
So I didn't hear you.
Yes. Are you able to sometimes work with the girls over Zoom, or is it all over on the Moodle?
Yeah. No, it's combined. It's really combined. So we are doing that via Zoom in a Zoom conference with 10 to 15, maybe 20 girls, and one or two teachers. At least at the first moments, that's very important. And then they should do that by themselves, but it's again very difficult for them to do that by themselves. They really need someone who says, "Oh, do that and do this," and somebody who has to be there for questions. That's very important. So it's hard for them to do that completely by their own. Although the course is designed in a way that it should work without any teacher, but in reality, it's very hard.
Well, we've been lucky enough to work with smaller groups. We work with usually 12 at a time over Zoom, and we typically do a demonstration, then have them try it, and almost inevitably one or two get stuck. So then we ask the person who is having a difficulty to share their screen so that we can work through it together. Almost invariably, if one person is run into a problem, there will be several others who will not be as willing to share. And I think over the course of the semester, they gain trust that they're in a supportive environment and they're more willing to share, problems. But it only works because we only have a dozen. If we had 20 or 30, I don't think there would be time to let everybody talk. So I think the larger groups you work with probably are much more challenging than the ones we work with.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So that's a big problem. So that's also a reason why we are usually two teachers.
We solve the problems with little groups. They build little groups with 3 or 5 participants, and they can help each other in their smaller groups via Zoom on our own.
So you use breakout rooms and Zoom.
Actually, the whole construction of this GDC project is that they get different academies, and each academy, there are different topics, but also this SNAP Academy is the 3rd academy. So we get the digital communication, social media, and then SNAP. And we train our girls at first to work on their own, to work with Zoom, to work together, to talk, to help. And then afterwards, after 2 academies, they go to SNAP. And this is our first try to make smaller groups so they work on their own, and we just help kind of tutors.
Right. We're looking forward to working in person again. Like most people, we've had to do everything over Zoom. But this summer, for the first time in 15 months, Rachel was able to work with middle school girls in person, and in person is so much better. One thing that Rachel did was have them take their design and turn it into a cup. There's a mug maker that Cricket, it's called I'll put it in it's called a Cricket mug press. I just put the name of the product, and it allows you to take your art design and put a cup into the mug press, and it puts the design onto the cup. And I think that the girls liked taking something home that was their art that they made.
Yeah, right.
And so I think that makes it a little more engaging.
And there is also one question in the chat. Do you have short videos of the skills? Probably don't understand the question right.
I think this question is not for us. I think
okay.
it's related to the comment above.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I mean we're like they have the videos on Moodle and we have similar videos, like similar to the ones I've made of the. So the answer is yes. And someone asked about stickers. We also have them use the silhouette die cutter to make stickers with their designs, and magnets, refrigerator magnets. So they get these tangible objects that they take home.
Some similar stuff with a 3D workshop in the future, where the kids can get something home, yeah, or we send it to them home.
Yeah. I mean, I think when they're on Zoom, we had to put it in the mail to them and send it. And I think it's more satisfying to get it immediately than to have to wait 3 days. I had one experience. Hold on. So one of our activities is they do something with the filter similar to what they're doing in Germany. And so the girls made this pointillism, where you make the picture out of dots.
Yeah.
So we have also a Canon. Canon makes this little printer that prints postcards, and it even has a stamp that you can put on to mail it. So I sent their parents 5 copies, and I asked the girls, did they like the pictures, the postcards, and they said they didn't get any of them because their mother took the postcards and sent them to all their aunts and uncles and relatives. So the parents at least liked the pictures that they made. I had to send another one so the kids could have their own copy. So yeah. I do think people I think kids and parents like the art aspect. One thing we do a lot is have them draw by hand as well as on the computer. And often we'll even have them scan in something they did by hand and use that as part of a snap program. Or sometimes they'll print out the snap design on a piece of paper and then enhance it with their own drawing, so that we're going back between digital and physical art.
But that's a great idea with the postcards. Also, the other comment here, the laminating A3 prints for table sets. That's great as well. So we should do that as well if we are doing these courses under normal conditions and not online. We should do that as well. That's a good idea. So, and if we can do these courses again face to face, the approach is that the girls are doing this Moodle course maybe at home, but or also during the lesson, and then we can hopefully talk about the results during the lessons. So the Moodle course is kind of supportive to the normal lessons.
If I might ask, is there any possibility that your book Coding Art will have an English version at some point? An English edition?
To be honest, I'm just working on a second edition of that book, and that will be in English. But as it is, it's not only a translation. So if you make a revision of a book, it will be a totally new book. But that will be in English. I have no idea when it will be finished, maybe at the end of the year or so.
if you need someone to proof revisions, we'd be interested in reading advanced versions that you might be working on, and we'd be happy to give you feedback. Because we were, I think we saw the book last year at the last SNAP conference, and we've been very intrigued by it, but none of us read German very well, unfortunately.
Just to add in, if you have the material in digital print or something, you can use DeepL translation web service to easily translate material. It's quite good now. The quality is really good.
Yeah. That's how I'm doing it. I use DeepL and also Google Translate. And the next step is my daughter, who is living in Scotland, and she is my proofreader.
A proofreader can be invaluable.
But as I said in my chat comment, my main emphasis is on making a relation to classical computer art, because I think there are several basic concepts available which you introduce in your course also, like loops, chants, and so on. And I found it, working with students, not with pupils, I found it very helpful to study those examples from early computer art. There is a big database in Bremen run by Frieder Nake, who is one of the pioneers of computer art. It's called DADA, D-A-D-A, you can find it. And there you find numerous examples which you can use as a starting point for also for pupils to analyze what are the elements in these artworks, like they use often only squares, only lines. They nearly use in every picture random chants and so on. And it's very easy to make a relationship with those classical works and your own work. And at the end, you have maybe a recoding of such a work or a remixing. And remixing, as you know, is very popular in modern art and also in modern music especially. So that's very motivating also for students and also for pupils, I think.
Yeah, that's right. But for our pupils, 6th grade, it's much too complicated.
Right.
So thought about some of these applications, but yeah, for the young girls, it can't be easy enough. Especially when we came to the point where we would like to do them some own projects. That's very complicated. So it's really good if they can draw a lot of squares in different colors or something like that. If they are doing this by their own, that's really a success. So normally, if you tell the kids, do your own projects, they don't have any ideas, and if they have an idea, it's very hard for them to translate this idea into a code. So that's a big challenge. So, what's your experience?
Maybe we should get in contact, because I would be very interested what is possible to do also in schools. Because if you take some examples from early computer art, they are so easy to recode. You only need lines or squares and chants, and then you can do similar things. And I used with my students a 3-step method. The first is the analysis. You take an example and you make a careful analysis. What are the elements which are used, like squares or triangles or lines or whatever. And how are they related to them? Is there a structure, or are they only random distributed? And there are very easy entry steps, not very complicated. And then comes the point of an algorithm, and those are also very easy. So if you have an example only with random scattered lines, well, okay, then it's enough to have a loop, to draw lines in a loop with some random starting points. And so that's very easy. So I would be very interested if that can be transferred to a certain level also in school.
Yeah, I could imagine that we could integrate such projects if we doing this step by step. That's very important. If you really give the question, oh, look at the forms. What forms can you see, and how they are related. So we really can discuss that. If we are doing that really step by step, it might be working. Yeah.
There's one beginning project that we do that involves simply making an art in the style of Rothko. As you know, he used a lot of vertical and horizontal bars, overlapping. And so we have the students draw a solid square to make say a blue bar. And if you right-click on the bar, you can use pen trails to turn it into a turtle costume. So they have several bars, small bars, red bars, blue bars. And then we just have them drag the costumes around the screen, and then use stamp to make the stamp the design. So there's some coding, but it's not, as you know, drawing a square is not extremely difficult for a beginner.
No.
And the main difficulty is putting the turtle in the center to fill it, which is a little more challenging. You can either move the turtle in the center of the square by hand and then fill, or if they're a little more advanced, they can write a program to move the turtle to the center and fill it. But either way, you wind up with something you can turn into a turtle costume, move about the screen, and then stamp. And we find that because they can make realistic art very much in the style of Rothko, they find it satisfying. But early in the course, it lets them be successful without getting bogged down in a 36 lines of coding or something. And I think the engagement that they're getting something out of it aesthetically. Now our goal is slightly different. Our goal is to engage the girls through art and also music. And so we focus more on the art with the computer science in the background. And so because of that, we never say, now you're going to learn how to make a loop. It's just that in the process of accomplishing the goal, they have to have the loop. And so we try to give it to them at the moment they have the need for it. So they're learning the ideas, but we're not explicitly, in the syllabus, we say, you're going to do art in the style of Rothko, not in this module, you're going to learn about loops. Now, if the goal were to teach computer science, we would organize it differently. But we have the luxury of offering this as an elective course where we have a great deal of freedom.
And how much time does it take? So if
we have currently 6 art modules and 6 music modules, and they can be done in 1 week with 2 or 3 1-hour sessions each module. So you could do 5 or 6 weeks of art, 5 or 6 weeks of music. As you know, any of these can be expanded infinitely.
Sure.
And so this was taught at a school in Colorado who was using our materials. And last year they offered it as a 1-semester course. Next year, beginning this fall, they're going to turn it into a 2-semester course because the students enjoyed it so much. these were students who were not traditionally successful in school, just because they're very often not interested. And when you're taking classes over Zoom, it's easy not to show up. And so some of the students who had not been doing their homework or coming to their other classes came to all the classes when it was involving art, just because they found it enjoyable and reinforcing. But it's very different if you have curricular standards you have to address. Makes it much harder to do the sort of thing that we've been trying to do. If it were in a course with where there's an end of semester test and you're, according to some national standard, which many of our courses have. So I think part of what makes it work is we have the flexibility of it being an elective course.
Okay.
But I think lots of people, the reason we got interested in this is because we created a middle school. We were lucky to get a grant where we built an actual school specifically designed to engage girls in engineering. And the problem we ran into is that the traditional subjects like rockets and robots, many girls didn't find that interesting.
No.
And so and when we interviewed them to say why are you dropping out of the engineering track, they would always say we hate to code. However, we believe that the problem was not that they hated it, we believed it was the subject matter. And we reasoned that most people do like art and music, and we thought they might like coding better if it were with art and music. And so that's turned out to be true. Many of the girls would have never considered taking a course about programming two robots to fight one another. And yet both girls and boys seem to enjoy art and music. And so I think the motivation, in our case, we just want to give them a chance to find out, do they like coding? And they might not have ever found that out if they didn't have an exposure to it. And so we think of it much like a school orchestra. The goal of the school orchestra is not for everybody to become a professional musician. It's to find out, do you like playing the violin, right? And if you do, you might play the violin all your life. Not that you make your living from it, but just because it makes your life richer. And we're kind of viewing what we're doing with art and music. Our goal is not for everybody to become a computer science teacher, although if you want to get grant funding, it's easier if you say that that's your goal. But I think just to find out, do they find it enriching in their lives? And I think what's so wonderful about the SNAP forums in this community is that there are people all the way from 10 years old to 80 years old, all walks of life from all over the world. I think that's what's so wonderful about SNAP. It provides a good entry point to doing things like the wonderful work that you guys have showed us this morning. Morning for me, maybe late afternoon for you. I'm not sure.
Yeah, right.
Right.
I think that was a perfect concluding remark. So here it's 2 minutes past 6. If you have any further questions, we are available during the conference, so feel free to contact us whenever you like. So
thank you a lot for being here with us and for this very, very interesting discussion, and for a lot of links and information also for us. Yes,